block inside this drawing, and that's the ceiling light fixture. And then we will make some small changes before going to the rendering part of this. So for that, I'm going to first click on this globe icon, and that will take our UCS to the default view. So this UCS is now returned back to the default. Let's click on it again. Okay, now it's returned back to the normal and the default state. Okay, now in this case we need to just work with this roof and we don't need anything else. So I'm going to select this roof, then right click, isolate, and I'll select isolate object. So that's the only thing which we need here. So I'll just keep that active. Now again, I and enter for insert, browse, and I'll select ceiling light fixture and open and OK. Alright, there we have the ceiling light. I'll just click on this point right there. Alright, that's obviously not the right spot for this thing, but that's fine for this case. Now I'll go to the top view and I'll change my visual style to 2D wireframe. Okay, there we have it. Now let's move it properly. So I'll just go to move, click somewhere here, and I'm gonna just move it like this, just a random point here. Now we need to make multiple copies of this, and I'll do that using array. So I'll select it, oops, just this single light here, then I'll click on rectangular array. Okay, so this is the pattern which we get here, but that's not what we want. We want 2 rows and 3 columns. So let's change number of columns to 3 and number of rows 2. There we have it. The direction is also opposite, so this is the direction which we want. So I'm just going to click on this last grip, okay, and I'll move it to this side here like this. We also need to increase the gap a little. So the gap is really very insufficient, so we need to just increase that. So I'll just go to this option here and look at that. It is minus 4 feet 9 inches approximately. So let's make it minus 5 feet. Okay, and that's the gap between columns. It's still not enough, so let's change it to minus 10. So minus 10 feet, and that looks much better. Now here in this row section, I'm going to change it to 5 feet. And that looks good, so I'll just keep that value. Now make sure associative is unchecked and then click on close array. So the ceiling light fixture is now added. Let's go to home. Okay, and it's added here. And now I'll bring back everything. So right click, isolate, and end object isolation. Well, that looks really weird, so let's change the visual style. So I'll just go to 2D wireframe here, the visual style switching bar, and change it to shaded with edges. There we have it. Now we need to make one more change here. This part is a surface, and the part here, the floor of this house, is also a surface. So let's convert these two things into a real solid. Now to convert that into a solid, you can use this thicken command. So select the thicken option and then select the surface. So I'll just click here and I'll select the surface and enter. Now look at the z-axis, it's pointing upwards. So if you add a positive value, that's going to add thickness upwards, but we want to add thickness on this downward side. So I'm going to add minus 6 inches as the thickness and enter. Look at that, the thickness is added on this downward direction. Again, I'll repeat the process for this one. So again, I'll go to thicken, I'll select this surface and enter, and again the thickness value. So in this case we can add 6 inches in the positive direction and enter, and the thickness is added. Okay, so we are all set, and every single block is also now added in our drawing. Currently every single object in this drawing is on layer 0 except the blocks. In case of blocks, some of the objects are on their respective layer, but apart from that, most of the objects which we made inside this drawing is on layer 0. So let's first separate them and let's put them on different layers. Now for that you need to go to this layer option. So here we have the layer panel. Click on this drop down and you'll see the list of layer which is available inside this drawing. So these are all the automatic layer. These layer were imported with your block. So when we inserted the block, the layer containing those blocks are also imported with that. But we'll make some changes here and we'll add our own custom layers too. So for that, I'll click on layer properties. That's gonna open the layer property manager, which will contain the list of complete layers. So in total we have 23 layers now. So let's just expand this, and here also I'll just increase the size of this palette. All right, now let's expand this column to the layer name column, and we'll rename some of the existing layers. So the first one which I'll rename is this stair base, which is yellow in color, and I'll just rename this. So right click and select rename layer, and let's make it stair. Not only the base, we just want all the objects of our stair on this layer, so I'll just use that. Also, we need to check the layer of some of the other objects. So first let's hide this wall as well as the roof, this one as well. Right click and hide object so that we can see the inside of this. Now we were talking about stairs, but when you zoom into this drawing, you'll notice that this is still a block. So we need to first explode this. So I'll select it, block reference, then X and enter. Do this only one time so that this is completely exploded like this. All right, now that's exploded. Now I'll select all the steps on this stair, all of these steps, including its base, but you need to make that selection really very carefully. Try not to select anything from your normal drawing. So here it is, and obviously I need to orbit a little here, and just a couple of more steps, and well, looks like we've selected everything. Look at that. So when you orbit your drawing, this will select only the object which is selected right now. So there it is. Now we need to put it on a single layer, which is stair. So I'll go to this drop down and I'll put it on stair layer. Okay, so that's added here. In a similar way, okay, we just missed this one. So well, this one, there's 3D solid. Okay, no, it's on that layer. It's properly on that layer. We can see that. Okay, so the layers are now added here for this one. Now let's repeat the process for other objects. So in this case, the wall is also a kind of distraction. So I'll select the wall, right click, and I'll isolate and hide the walls. Now we can work in a proper way here. Well, we don't need this rectangle too, so I'll delete that rectangle. Now we have this curtain wall. Now the curtain wall is also a block. So I'll select this and I'll explode this. Now when you hover your cursor over these glass panels, you'll notice that this object is a 3D solid. Select it and this will show you the layer. So the layer is 3D glaze. So this is not very descriptive. Okay, so we have a lot of these other layers as well. So let's make it a little descriptive. So I'm going to change the name of this. So we have this 3D glaze. I'll select, right click and rename, and I'll name it as curtain wall. All right. Also, we have this wooden structure. So that's again a 3D solid and its layer is 3D glaze CWMG. Well, let's just make this one descriptive too. So that's this one. Rename, instead of CWMG, I'll type wood-curtain. All right, so that's done. Now let's put these objects on the respective layer. So well, it is on its layer. We don't need to do that. Also, when you select this, just look at that, it's on its layer. So in this case, we don't need to do much because it's already on its layer where it's supposed to be. Okay, that's done. Now let's make some layer for other objects. So now I'll click on this new, and this will allow us to add new layer inside this drawing. So the first one is floor, and let's just make it yellow. And well, then select roof. So I'll just click on new and I'll select a new name for this, so roof, and then wall. So again here, and wall, let's make walls red. So I'm gonna just change it to red, and let's make one more layer for the brick wall. Let's see whether we have a layer for brick wall or not. We don't actually. And when you select the brick wall, well, here it is. Well, it's on layer 0. So let's make a new layer for brick wall. So brick wall, and we'll keep its default color here. So, well, color 7, the white color here. All right, now let's put these objects on the respective layers. So I'll start with this one, the floor, and I'll put it on floor layer right there. Okay, now let's bring other objects here, but before that we can put this wall on its respective layer. So I'll just put it on brick wall. Now in this case we have other objects also, like these blocks. If you want these objects exploded, you can explode them before you actually apply the materials on them. So these are currently blocked, you can clearly see that. So you need to just explode these blocks before you can actually apply materials on these objects. So right now it's not making any difference, but just for the sake of simplicity, explode all the blocks on which you are planning to apply material. So here it is, now it's a 3D solid. You can repeat the process for other blocks, but in this case we're not applying material on all the objects, so I'll just keep it that way. Only this one is exploded. All right, let's bring other things. So right click, isolate, and end object isolation. Now I'll select this wall, just this wall, and I'll put it on wall layer. Then we'll select this roof, and it's actually connected with this one. So if you want to keep that connection, that's fine. If you want to separate them, you can do that as well. In this case, it's hardly making any difference. This is just the exterior view, so I'll keep it here. And in this case, I'll just put it on roof layer. Well, let's select this one too, and we'll put it on roof. Okay, so we've got almost every single object here. Now let's add one final detail, and for that I'm gonna hide this wall, this one, and this one too. So I'll select them all, right click, isolate, and hide objects. And I'll also hide everything else from this drawing. We don't need these. And I'll make a selection like this that includes most of the curtain wall parts and hide object. Okay, so except this wall we don't have anything here, so I'll just go to this left, and here I'll make another surface. So for that we need to first change the view. So I'll go to coordinates and view. Now I'll go to surface, planner. I'll click at a point randomly here, and I'll make a plane of 3 feet by 3 feet and enter. There we have it. So right now you won't find any kind of suitable application of this, but that's fine. We'll use it later on in the rendering part of this tutorial series. So here it is. We just need to ensure that it's properly close to this wall. So I'll just see this thing from a different angle too, and just look at that, it's really very distant, so we just need to place it. I'll select using this gizmo, I'll just move it close to this, and we need to move it even closer like this, and I'll just zoom in and I'll place it right here. That's it. Home, there we have it. That's where we need it. So right click here and I'll change it to parallel. Now I'll go to home, I'll click on this world icon to take our UCS to the default view, and I'll bring everything back in the drawing. So isolate and end object isolation. I'll zoom out, and there we have it. So this is the 3D view of our house. So let's save it once again. So our 3D house is fully prepared. We just need to make some views, and then we can start rendering this thing, and we can then convert this into a really photorealistic kind of drawing. So let's add cameras and let's make some views inside this drawing. And before doing that, I'll first hide this one, so we don't need these solids, the roof, the wall. So right click, isolate, and hide object. Now we can clearly see the interior of this house. Now let's start by adding a camera, and for that I'll go to visualize tab, and I'll go to this create camera, and this camera will actually help us in making the view which we want. So let's just orbit our drawing a little bit like this, and let's zoom into this area, and I'll try to place this camera somewhere over here, maybe here. That looks a good spot for our camera, and then we'll just move the direction of this camera towards this wall, and I'll grab a point here, maybe a point here. Yep, that midpoint looks good, so that point, and press enter. So the camera is now added, but we need to tweak its position. So I'll select the camera, and AutoCAD will now open a preview window for you. So this is the preview window which will show you the view from your camera. Now you can tweak this thing. So to tweak the view of this camera, you can move it around. So I'll just grab this blue gizmo and I'll move it downwards. So down a little like this. To increase the field of view of this camera, you can increase it using this grip. So you can move it like this outwards, and that will increase the field of view of this camera. Okay, so now we have enough here, but let's just move it here a little bit like this, so that it includes most of the things from this drawing. And if you want to move it a little bit forwards, you can use this grip. No, that's not going to make it look good, so I'll just keep it here. Maybe I'll just move it to the left a little. Yes. And right now you can clearly see that we are facing difficulties because of object snap. So I'll just deactivate the object snap, and now we'll just move it here. So now that's a smooth movement here, and maybe here. That's the point. And now we just want this view. So we just want this view here right inside this drawing. So for that, I'll right click here and I'll select set camera view. So look at that. Now press escape, and that's our inside view. Now in order to save this view permanently inside this drawing, you need to type V and press enter. Now this will open the view manager. Click on new and give it a name. So let's name it as interior, and well, don't select anything else. We just want to select current display as the view. So I'll just keep this current display checked. Okay, and we are done. Our first view is created, and okay, so that's our view, and that's how our house is gonna look like from inside. It's like you're standing right inside your house. Now let's take an exterior view of this as well. So I'll just zoom out. Okay, and now I'll move it like this, and once again I'll add another camera. So I'll just press escape, create camera. Now place your camera here, approximately. Okay, let's activate the object snap. So I'll place my camera right here. Okay, and we just want to see this one, and enter. Okay, let's see where our camera is. Well, it looks like it's not been placed where it's supposed to be. So I'll just select this one. That's fine. We can totally move it around. So I'll just move it right here. And then using this grip, we can move it here. And once again, using this green gizmo, we'll move it like this. We need to also rotate the direction of this camera. So for that, I'll grab this one, this grip here. That single grip, and I'll move it inside here like this. Now to increase the field of view, you can obviously play with these grips. So there are grips here that will increase the horizontal as well as the vertical view here. So you can just play with these grips to increase the field of view like this. Okay, now that looks a lot better, but maybe we can tweak the z-axis direction a little bit. So let's just go to this blue grip and let's move it upwards a little like this. Okay, now that's approximately at the eye level height. Now I'll press escape. Okay, and let's select this camera once again, and let's make this one as a view. So again, I'm gonna select the camera, then right click, set camera view. There we have it. The camera view is now your current view. Press escape, and let's bring everything back inside our drawing. So I'll right click, isolate, and end object isolation, so that the roof and everything is here, and we'll save it as exterior view. So again, view, V, and enter, then new, and I'll name it as exterior, and again okay, and okay. So there we have it. So we now have two different views. So you can create as many views as you want. And now if you want to switch between these views, it's pretty easy. Just go to view, and here, look at that. We have this unsaved view. Click on interior or exterior. These are the views which we created. I'll click on interior, and look at that. It will take us to the interior view. If you select the exterior, it will directly take you to that view. You can also switch between different views from this option here. So we are in exterior. Go to that, select custom views, and look at that. We have the views. So interior, and just zoom out, and you're back to defaults. So I'll right click and parallel. And that's our 3D house model. Okay, so this was all about creating the 3D house. And if you want to know